We have been going strong since 8 o'clock this morning. We've played 3 grand finals and 1 more still to come. And if you are from the state of Victoria, well, it's been a pretty good Sunday. Hello, everybody. Chris Garagiola. I'm joined by former under-20 New South Wales coach Tim Hudson. And Tim, so far, Victoria, they have had it their way so far in the grand finals, but with 1 more great game in front of us here, South Australia just trying to break the streak. This should be a really entertaining under-20 championship.
Yeah, I think it'll be fantastic. There's an exciting crop of players. You talk about Victoria, they carry the mystique about them. They expect to win. They just have this way that they carry themselves, and it's shone through in this tournament. You know, it could be a clean sweep, but not if SA has anything to do with it. You know, they had a huge win last year. I was on the other end of that, which was tough to take, but they're sort of building their own reputation, and yeah, we'll see how that plays out today.
A convincing win for South Australia in their semi-final against WA. On the other side, it was Victoria just kind of edging by Queensland in a really entertaining game. But those mean nothing now. It just, who can put together the best 4 quarters here will decide ultimately who walks away with a gold medal. Head coach for Victoria is Christopher Anstey. Paul Rigoni coaches the South Australian side. And while we have a moment here, we'll take a look at the starting lineup. First for South Australia, it's Nick Marshall, Lachlan Hoff, Owen Holland, Ben Carter, but the attention has to be on Alex Madronia. He drops 27 points and 10 rebounds in the opening loss to West Australia, and he had a chip on his shoulder. He has been leading the tournament in scoring here. He's got to be the X factor, you'd think, for this South Australia side.
Oh, he's absolutely outstanding. He dropped a cool 40 on New South Wales too, and you know, in a crucial crossover match. And yeah, he's really stood up, and you can see the team feeding off him. He knows how to get in the gaps and really change the game. He can shoot it. You know, he's got a lot to his game.
And then on the other side for Victoria, the starters, Sean McDonald, Tyler Robertson, Josh Coonan, Kelly LePepe, and Matty Johns, the captain. Many will look to him for his leadership. It's the 5th time he's representing Victoria in a championship-level-like atmosphere. And with 1 more opportunity to bring home a gold medal, you know he doesn't want to let this one slip through his fingers.
Oh, no doubt. It's almost like he's cruised through the tournament in some ways. But, you know, the semi-final game, he did an outstanding job on Statman. He went 0 for 10, but he led his team to a victory. And it's those sort of intangible things that will carry through and create the success here.
The wait is over. 3 grand finals in the books, and now with a full house here at court number 1 in Scholastic Sports Stadium, we're ready to get set and find out who will be the 2018 Under-20 champion. South Australia, their traditional home, red and yellow uniforms. Victoria, you've seen all the prior grand finals. You know they're in the blue and white. It's LePepe and Holland at center. It's controlled by South Australia. And we're underway in the championship. Marshall there on the far side. Carter, he had a strong semifinal performance for SA. Opts to go down low, and a block. At least it looked like that by Robertson. Instead, he's whistled for the foul.
Yeah, there's plenty of heat early. That's what we like to see. People are trying to establish themselves in the game. The defensive end is so important right now. If you can build that pressure early in the first quarter, it goes a long way to really stabilizing your own team on the defensive end and putting a lot of pressure on the opposition.
First points to the championship go to South Australia. Lachlan Hoff, 1 for 1 at the line. And make it a cool 2 for 2. It's a hot one here inside Scholastic Sports Stadium. We saw that take its toll on some of the Queensland players on the women's side. And you just wonder, as we get deeper into this game, who's got the legs to stand. A feed inside to LePepe from Johns. You know, those two went head-to-head in the school championships. Nearly got into a fist fight. Here they are, the best of friends for Victoria.
It was interesting to see him get Matty Johns involved early, get him on a clear out where he can get to the rim and put his decision-making capabilities into effect.
Marshall, 5 on the shot clock. He drives off the glass. It won't hang on. Rebound that time to Coonan.
That's 2 aggressive players by South Australia. They're putting plenty of heat on the rim. That'll put pressure on the defense.
Johns has it on the far side. It's McDonald, Robertson, really using the shot clock here. LePepe creates space. Oh, gorgeous shot. LePepe, he's feeling it early.
That's an impressive move. He's putting his stamp on early on. He's known as a real energy guy, and but it's good to see him translating on the offensive end.
Whistle, a turnover here from South Australia. I think Marshall, when he started his drive, caught the back of the out-of-bounds line.
Yeah, again, that's the big presence of Johns coming out. The player feeling like they can't get that shot off, and they've got to put that ball on the floor.
McDonald to bring it up. He also had an excellent semifinal performance in that win against Queensland. Now LePepe will try a three. Can't get the soft touch, but there's McDonald skying for the rebound. Robertson left wide open. Oh, it rattles in and out. And it's taken away by Victoria.
That's twice McDonald has had his hand in offensive rebounds. He's very assertive right now. He's getting to the rim and finding open players. He's getting on the offensive boards.
Johns driving, whistle and a foul. 2 shots coming up. And right now it is Victoria dictating the pace here in this grand final.
Yeah, both teams. I feel like both teams have been very aggressive. Both teams are attacking the rim early in the game. It's getting moved, but they're looking to really hit that rim with some serious pressure.
Johns in that school championship played out in Melbourne. He ended up finishing the tournament 15 points per game and 7 rebounds. His numbers not too dissimilar here in the under-20s.
Yeah, no doubt. He's got a lot to his game. He's got a lot of versatility, and it'll be interesting to see how he puts it in play in today's game.
Madrania surveying the floor. He finds Hoff. Hoff drives. Tried to kick it for a corner 3, but gave it right to Robertson.
Yeah, that's 2 costly turnovers early in the game.
Oh, slick handles from Robertson. Still has it. Kunin.
Again, 2 feet in the paint early.
Thought about the 3. Oh, LePepe spins, kicks. Look at the ball movement. Johns wide open, can't score. Madrania, head down looking. A little Euro step. He is bodied up well. Can't get it to drop, but the tenacity to get his own board. 10 on the shot clock.
I just like how he went 2 bounces off that rebound and really looked to push it down the floor.
Carter's going to try a 3. The big fella. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't think Victoria is expecting Ben Carter to be lightening up from 3, but SA will take what they can get.
Oh, I felt the heat of that last year. He has that capability. He can knock down that shot, and if they're going to leave you open like that, you've got to stand up. You can't come into a final and play with fear.
Robertson. Kunin on the baseline. He's got the size advantage over Hoff. Tried to use it. LePepe. Oh, so strong when he gets a rebound, but so soft off the glass.
He's a tough competitor. He's going to be around all of those rebounds. He's going to be setting, big tough screens. He's a real man out there amongst the boys, that's for sure. Madrania
spins up and under, kicks, open look this time. Marshall can't get it to drop, and the ball pokes right to Kunin. 6:27 left to go in the opening quarter. Stripped out of the hands of McDonald. It's a 2-on-2 the other way. Oh, but a sloppy pass from Hoff. A careless turnover.
Yeah, that was not a good turnover. Any turnovers in this kind of game, it hurts. There's always big momentum swings, particularly in finals when there's emotions to it. But McDonald and Madrania are both being aggressive. They're both looking to come out in the open floor, look to attack. There's nothing on. They're setting their teams up. It's some real class in these guards, that's for sure.
Robertson shooting 50% from the field in the tournament. Hits a 3. It's a quick 6-point edge for Victoria. Now Owen Holland, another big fella. He just comes short on his 3 ball.
Yeah, they're letting them fly, the big fellas, aren't they?
Robertson, LePepe. Thinking about it. Kicks to Johns. Now McDonald, a quick trigger release, and he puts it down. Already 3 of 4 from the 3-point line. And Victoria making a statement here.
Victoria seem like they've grown a lot over the course of the tournament. They're playing with a real level of calm, and a real even keel. They're really shifting the ball. They're assessing the double teams or the space on the defense. I mean, Pepe there, that little kick out was a real nice pass, and there's just an extra little hockey assist right up the top. That's invaluable.
So South Australia takes a punch in the mouth right now. You wonder if Coach Rigoni's going to go to his bench, and we saw in our marquee matchup a couple days ago when we were covering South Australia that off the bench, Michael Harris, he's known as a shooter. He can make a quick impact. We saw him score 18 first-half points and was the difference there in that semi. You just wonder how much longer number 5 will be on the bench. And for the other side, for Victoria, not a whole lot to change.
Well, at this point in time, look, the individuals are very important, but it's how the teams establish themselves as a whole. It's going to be a tough night for South Australia if they try and play Victoria just in the half court. They're a very smart operating team. They really get a real sense of flow in their offense. They're inside, they're outside, they're shifting the ball. South Australia, those costly turnovers have hurt them a lot, but if they can get a score, and put a little pressure up the floor, maybe mix it up, it'll be interesting to see what Coach Rigoni does here.
Down by 9, halfway through this first quarter. So far, South Australia just 1 of 5 from the field. Carter. Madronia. Victoria doing a nice job keeping these guys out of the paint. Corner 3 on the way, no good. Carter tips it back to Madronia. He's working really hard. Now another open 3. That's off the mark. And Kunin comes up with a board.
Yeah, Madronia, he's not slowing down. He's making sure he's keeping heat on the rim, and it's so important. Look, shots are going to miss, but your habits have got to be the same. You've got to keep that flow about you. You can't swing.
LePepe, given room, tries about an 8-footer. That won't go. Now back the other way is Marshall. Madronia defended here by Matty Johns, and he puts it right in his face.
Just look at how he carries himself. It wasn't like it was a big show. It was a big 3. They haven't scored a lot, but, his body language was, much of it was just an everyday shot. It looks like he's just finding himself through the game. He's a very classy player. He's got a piece to that too.
7 on the clock. Johns fakes. Looking tough contested shot. It won't go.
And got a little stuck there. It'll be interesting to see if Adelaide looks to push now. They've come up a couple of times, Victoria. They want to start to put a little bit of pressure on him. There he goes, getting to the rim again.
Sees some room, switches hands midair, and goes off the glass with a left hand.
And that's it. He could have easily just kicked back and got the ball to other people, but he continues to put pressure on the opposition. You can see he's a class leader.
Nice defense there on the pick and roll. A cross court. Does Victoria. Kunin backing down Holland. McDonald, contested 3. That's no good.
That's great ball movement, but, I thought the young fella had a nice little post up. He was within close range. A nice little turnaround, get that finish. But look at SA. They're looking to punch now. Since their timeout, there's been a bit of a turnaround in the game. There's a turn in the flow of the game. And they haven't really changed much defensively other than just being solid, getting rebounds and punching out early.
Robertson, he'll try an elbow jumper that just wiggles out. Carter finally comes down with it. Not a bad look. And now it's Holland. The game's sort of settling down in terms of pace. Madronia, quick release. Nothing, unfortunately, for him. It goes right back to Vic, and we'll see changes on both sides. Michael Harris for South Australia will come into the game and replace Nick Marshall. But they have an equally good number 5 does Victoria in Mitchell Berry. He checks in along with number 6 Dang Poch. Johns bodying down Harris. Now Berry.
It's a nice little mismatch for Johns and utilizing his passing ability.
Good defense there by Harris, as Johns unable to put in the fadeaway. Still just a 4-point game here with 2:31 left to go in the first.
If that's a consistent matchup, I'd like to see Victoria continue to go at that.
There's Harris. I told you he could shoot it from long range. His first shot attempt is a good one, and wasting no time. Chris Ansey for Victoria going to call his timeout.
I think he might have been trying to make a statement. We had John backing him down there, trying to look down on the little man, and he wasn't having any part of that. He wanted to take him down the other end, and and have a crack at the first opportunity he got. He's playing with the Australian spirit, that's for sure.
They've only played 2 minutes, or we've got 2 minutes and 25 seconds. A lot of basketball left, but I like what we see. This looks like it could be an instant classic of a final.
It certainly is. You know, it's been a good sway either side. Both coaches have been forced to call timeouts. It'll be interesting to see how Anstey, reacts to this. I mean, there's no introduction that needs to be made for Chris Anstey. He's had a special journey, and taking all that experience and how he passes it on to these kids in these big games, these big pressure games. It'll be interesting to see what Victoria come out with. I would think, it's not like they're doing anything too far wrong, but they've just probably let a few offensive rebounds that they could capitalise with their size and mobility, and particularly when they shift the ball. I think they got stuck on one side once or twice, a few isolated plays, and they didn't come up with the defensive boards. And South Australia were quick to throw it down the other end. In finals like this, mate, the swing is heavy. So you've got to be ready to punch. You can't play with fear. You've got to be ready to attack, but you've got to be measured and play within the flow of the game, with the context of the team.
Victoria opened the game on a 14-5 run. It is now South Australia with an 8-0 run of their own. Barry drives, well defended by Brody Nathan, who just checked in and is able to...
That's a man's rebound right there.
Two guys wrestling after it.
He's probably given 2 inches on height there and maybe a little extra on the length, but Madronia, he wasn't letting that one go.
LePepe over to Duke. Johns, wide open 3. That one goes. Can't give him that much space.
Just nice and aggressive, it's a good aggressive drive and kicking out to the open shooter. They just got to get it done on the defensive end to build a bit of pressure here for South Australia.
Fakes the handoff to Harris, and then Poch called for the foul, just hanging on to that jersey. Simple looking play, but it actually worked out pretty well to fake that handoff.
Yeah, no, that's right. It was a nice little savvy play. He gave him the little let me through on the defensive end. He just lost sight of that big fella.
Harris has room for another 3. That one won't drop. Rebounded by Victoria. 90 seconds to go here in quarter number 1. Johns. Poch. Dude on the floor. LePepe. A lot of ball movement here as Johns. Why not?
The Dude's being aggressive. He's finding his way out in the open floor. That's the 3rd time he's penetrated into the gut. That's good to see. Comes that handoff again.
Carter hit that 3. Hasn't had much else go offensively as Holland well contested on the drive. That is textbook defense. One big man on another. Oh, left alone again. Another open 3 for Victoria. This time it doesn't drop. Right back the other way. Madronia and S.A. Look at the handles. Tries to push off. And they're going to call a foul there on the floor.
Well, Chris, speaking about the defensive end, I think both teams can make up a lot here. Defense is so important in finals like this. The pickup in transition wasn't until way back to the 3-point line. He gave him 2 bounces before he wanted to give him that serious D, and at that point, it's probably too late,
2 more changes for Victoria. Oliver Hayes-Brown into the game, and McDonald returns as the point guard. Pullen slips around one defender, and we're going to have an offensive foul called against number 10, Owen Holland. Just trying to hook his way around number 6 in blue. "30 seconds left. Victoria up by 4.
A little too late for a 2-for-1. We'll see what kind of shot they get. They just want to get a good one.
A drive there from Poch. He tries to scoop up the layup. The rebound picked up once again. Fortunate break.
It's a good 2-way play for Poch. He played the good defense on the post down the other end. He was aggressive in good time.
Oh, driving through. It's off the foot that time. There of number 14, Nathan. And now that allows Victoria one more opportunity to add some points before the quarter comes to a close. It's 2. 3 seconds left. 2. A triple on the way. He hits the deck. No foul.
See, I'm a little surprised that he had 3 seconds to get that. And he made his way from three-point line to three-point line with minimal challenge to be able to get that shot off. Clearly, I know the scores don't really reflect it because it's not a high-scoring game right now, but I think both teams are really struggling to stay in front. There's a lot of players getting into the paint and getting in there easy. I think both teams might be just a little edgy on the offense, but if they continue to play defense like that, either one of these teams could go on a serious run, particularly that penetration and pitch that's happening at both ends.
South Australia down by 6 points. What do they need to do here in the second quarter to try and get back into this game offensively?
Yeah, I think they've just got to be steady and stick to their stuff. You just got to play within the context of the flow of the game. I really think that they can make it up on the defensive end. I mean, I know they've had a couple of turnovers, but the turnovers there's been a lot of dead ball turnovers too. The ball's out of bounds, and that last one was a classic example. I thought McDonald was lucky. He didn't stay down in his stance. He broke past him, but he coughed the ball up. It went out off the foot. Fair enough, but pick up. Be really urgent. You have to be urgent. You have to build that play-by-play. That's how you build the pressure in the final, and it makes offense easy when you're running and gunning.
Well, you take a look at some of these first quarter stats for South Australia. Madronia leading the way with 5 points. Carter had 3, and Harris off the bench also with 3 points.
Yeah, with that, I think they need Madronia to be in a position to make decisions, to continue, whether that's, in their offense, get it shifted, get it back to the, get it reversed, get it back into his hands where he's getting closeouts, where he can get back to the rim, because he's a great decision maker and he's a potent scorer. I think that's really important for them.
The other side of things for Victoria, a nice even distribution offensively. LePepe had 6 points, Johns with 5, Robertson with 3, and McDonald with 3 of his own. The difference right now that stands out to me, 1 turnover in the first quarter by Victoria, 5 here for South Australia. Those are going to be killer, and a big reason why we've got a 6-point game.
Yeah, they're massive. I mean, and again, you can say, South Australia, that they're not looking after the ball and whatnot, but they've allowed the other team to go through, a whole quarter with just 1 turnover. They haven't built up that pressure. They haven't managed to put their stamp defensively on the game.
15 of the 19 points here for Victoria have come from the 3-point line. And we have a little bit of delay right now. I know that during the break that the official scorers called the officials over to the table. I'm not sure exactly what the issue was, but because of that, some added time here for the coaches to talk to their players before they hit the deck here for the second quarter.
Yeah, I think another thing, both teams just had 2 free throws, for the quarter. They want to try and get to the foul line. I mean, the foul line's a great place to get to for the obvious of, you're shooting a high percentage, but it also gives your team to regroup, down their end of the floor and be able to put pressure right up, in the full court and really put pressure on the opposition team. You can mix things up, you throw your traps and your presses. But yeah, I'd be thinking both coaches, want to try and get to that foul line, that's for sure.
South Australia to inbound. Here to get the second quarter started, down by 6. On the floor for SA, it is Madronia, Harris, Carter, Holland, and Nathan. Carter has it. Just throws it in the corner, and I think he lost where he was geographically on the floor. That's the 6th turnover of the game.
Well, I think it's that aggressiveness, that help side, weak side defense by Pooch there. It was, he was really active, and that's the kind of intensity you need. It's not just on the ball, it's off the ball.
McDonald, aggressive play there from the point guard, can't finish. So a 1 and done here on the first trip for Victoria. Holland will give and go. Now it's Carter. Not a lot happening on this possession. 10 on the shot clock. Nathan will fire up a 3, and how often do we see that? Nothing glowing offensively, and you just chuck up a 3 and it drops.
Yeah, absolutely. You wouldn't say it was a great shot, but hey, you know, he made something out of nothing, you know, towards the end. He's lucky his man went under the screen. And
strong take to the rack. Duke couldn't score, but again, Poch there.
What concerns me more, Chris, is they get a big shot, they hit a three, and they've failed to put that pressure up the floor. I think it's so important. You've got to look at this game from a defensive perspective so they can really punch out down the other end. They just allowed them to come down the floor, get heat on the rim. You know, it leads to all sorts of things. Defensive rotations, offensive boards.
Holland, a little shot fake, throws it off the glass. Nice finish from up close. The lead is just 3.
Yeah, they've just trotted back and, you know, picking them late. And you know, in fairness to Coach McGray, that could be part of his strategy. Just, you know, go out nice and cool, calm, collected, and just play really stable maybe in the three-quarter court. But right now, I just don't see it. I think Victoria needs a little bit of a check. You know, they need to know that they're in a battle at some stage, you know.
Mitchell Berry just hit a three-pointer at the other end. We know he can shoot the 3. So can this guy. Madronia puts it on the deck, drives, strong take to the hoop. But an even stronger rebound that time from Hayes Brown.
Chris, that's 3 players on one side of the floor, you know, and that's what happens down the other end. You know, you get stuck and buried on one side, defense gets that rebound, they come out and punch it at you like that. I think they were lucky you missed that layup.
Carter, little pick and roll, and it's now Harris driving. Pull-up jumper from the elbow, rattles it home.
So just a real nice tidy pick and roll. Nice little pull through to the middle off that. And good fundamental basketball.
Barry surveys, finds McDonald. There's a drive. That's going to be a blocking foul. His feet just weren't set in time. The right idea, but it kind of leaned into it looked like from here.
Yeah, no doubt. I'd like to see Victoria really get in the flow of their stuff. They get their little shuffle cut, stagger away. You know, it'd be good to just make them do something different. I think they've had the luxury of being able to just pass it around. I don't think they're looking to really attack heavy off it. It's generally they're getting off that penetration, and once they play out of that. But it'd be good to see them kept to one side of the floor.
10 on the shot clock here.
They say it looked like a matchup zone there, switching out in that zone. Trying to present something different.
Count the basket. Oliver Hayes Brown.
That was a tidy little seal. Now, he had the back weak side help defender sitting a little low, and he just sat right in his pocket. You know, they're the type of chippies that go a long way.
The first free throw attempt here of the grand final for number 13. He was on last year's Vic Metro gold medal team. It's the second time that Hayes Brown is donning a Victoria uniform. Malik Mounier also in the game now for Vic. Nathan, tough shot, hits the back iron. Rebounded by McDonald. Here comes Mounier. 3-on-3. Mounier left his feet. You're not supposed to do that, but gets away with it.
I think he was pretty aware of where everybody was. You know, I was more pleased with the fact that they're looking to really attack in that open court.
Johns, 6 seconds left. Hayes Brown, a little catch and shoot. Just off the mark. Rebound brought home by Artacho.
I don't know if you noticed there just by Pooch. He just took straight away on that rebound on the transition back. He took out of the play, out of the transition play. I don't know whether that's part of their scout or just, you know, a level of assertiveness, but you want to keep those key players out of the game. You don't want them to have put their footprint on the game.
26-23, Victoria lead it. Matty Johns.
Speaking of, that's bread and butter right there for that young fella. That's just a good seal right in the, you know, deep into the zone. And
Harris.
as you can see, McDonald really chasing him hard. They're trying to make him work for everything, tire him out over the course of the game.
Oh, what a finish.
That is a tough play. And particularly with how much work he had to do, Chris. He really had to fight hard over that screen to come up high. You know, it puts a lot of pressure on that star. Can he take that for 40 minutes and still finish like that? That's the question. I mean, you know, these national championships, these teams spare no resource. They really throw everything at it. And I've seen every team out there, they're pulling out their computers, you know, they're picking up their sports code huddle programs and identifying all the key threats. They put a lot into this, and Madronia would be a key factor in that scout. You know, the way Victoria are playing, and the fact that they got that win without Matty Jones. He was 0 for 10. 0 for 10. So I think the battle for SA has got to be how they shift this team, this Victorian team as a team, not just individual scouts.
Right back the other way. It's Nathan. Count the basket. So all of a sudden, it hasn't been the most glamorous offensive display for South Australia, but they're a free throw away from tying it up at 28.
Speaking of team and contributors, you know, young Brody there, he's hit a big three. He's got to the line. You know, he's looking like he's ready for a big game. That's a big contribution to his team.
Robertson back into the game with Johns. He finds number 12 wide open. But that time the three ball won't drop.
And credit here to Coach Rigoni. I mean, they're changing the pace there for Victoria now. You put them in a press, and you know the ball gets sped up, or the game gets sped up, and they're taking early threes. Whereas in the first part of the whole first quarter, there wasn't a lot of early shots. You know.
Hard to see who the foul was on. Looked like Matty Johns. Regardless, more free throws coming up. And the first is up and good. So Nathan coming off the bench here for South Australia, like you said, and creating change in a number of different ways. Last four free throws have all dropped here for Nathan in South Australia. 4 minutes and 27 seconds left to go in the first half. A no-look feed inside to Coonan, and you give him that much room, he's going to score more often than not.
That's a nice pass. That was a really nice cut. You know, there was a big gaping hole in there, and he hit it hard and was a threat right off the bat. That's how they're going to have to attack this zone. You know, a lot of these kind of presses, you know, they're all, you know, they can often be smoke and mirrors, and you can see Adelaide's trying to change the pace of the game and throw them something a little different. Throw a little spanner in there, and they're starting to get comfortable.
I think Victoria will be happy with that shot selection. If Madronia has to work that hard to get a long range two, they'll live with the ones he makes. As now, Mounier for three. Yes!
That's a little more movement, penetration, and pitch like they were getting going in the first quarter.
Madronia on the near side, trying to get open. Here comes the double. Someone's
another
open.
Good cut.
It's what you do off the ball sometimes that helps your scoring.
Yeah, that young fella, young Brody, he's having a hell of a game. He's really putting his stamp. He's being a threat. You know, a lot of players, you know, come finals, they can go hiding. It's good to see South Australia just cut back out of their zone and out of their press and back to the man, mixing it up. I think Victoria started to get comfortable there, and it's a good change-up.
2 seconds left from a mile away. It's off the front of the rim. And look out here. Numbers once again for SA. Nathan driving. They pull it out to Carter. Madronia. Oh, look at the creation. Artacho for three. He pours it in.
That's just great offense. They've got the ball moving. They've got the ball in the hands of their key playmaker. He wasn't trying to, you know, take everything on and do everything. He made a solid move. He drew numbers and find his player wide open on the three-point line. That's good basketball.
Boy, who saw this result coming?
Yeah, well, that's a great point. You know, both of the leaders of their pools in Queensland and WA fall out, and there was a lot of talk about whether they should just have a semi-final series or whether they should go with the quarters. And speaking to Peter Lonigan, he was talking about the concern they have with international play, where they'd find themselves in situations where they're playing these quarterfinals, and we'd have teams that'd be sitting first in their pool and get to those crossovers and fall out. You know, so it's a different kind of pressure to play, particularly, you know, when you're a high-ranked team and you're expected to win. And I think that would have played a lot on the minds of Queensland in that semi-final. I mean, Victoria lost the game early. They hadn't built the same sort of, expectations as what Queensland has. So it's interesting to see Basketball Australia put that into effect. I think it's smart, and I think it's good for us overall.
2 minutes and 38 seconds. South Australia turning it around in large part to some savvy three-point shooting. They're now 6 of 13 from the arc. And meanwhile, just 5 of 14 here for Victoria.
Yeah, speaking of that topic too, you know, WA just had a big victory in the semi-final, played for that bronze medal. For them, their expectations are, hey, this would be great for us. You know, they had everything to play for. You know, Queensland were probably just a little disappointed, and it's harder to get up there and play. I think that the way these two teams have come in, they both come in probably on equal terms, and playing with probably a different mindset.
Well, Lepepe spent a lot of time on the bench, and his first shot back on the floor clanks off the backboard. Now Madrania driving on Lepepe, kicks out to Nathan. That three won't go, and a foul going to go against number 9, Christian Artacho, his first personal.
See, I mean, that's an unlucky foul. I think that's good penetration. They got their, key playmaker getting to the rim. He's putting pressure on the defense, puts them into rotations. They get a wide open shot, and they nearly get an offensive rebound. That's good basketball. I'd like to see him keep more pressure up the floor. Their press, I think, changed the pace of the game. I think it hurts him a little just to roll back, But, again, I'm not in the timeouts, and I'm not sure what Coach Rigoni's thinking. But, I'm sure he's put a lot of thought into this and how they play the game.
Well, Robertson saw some space and fired the three, and it goes out of bounds. Do you think maybe the only reason why they don't pressure is the number of games they've played this week and the fact that it's pretty warm inside the building?
No doubt, it's a big factor. But what you've got to keep in mind, Chris, both teams have experienced that week. And it's really, if you're the aggressor, you're making them react to you. If you're not proactive in this kind of final, then often you can get left behind. And I think both teams have showed elements of that. It's not been one way, and the scoreline is indicative of that. But it's picking those points. It's being able to capitalise on momentum, and when you get a score, to be able to put that pressure. When they were getting to the foul line, they were running their trap. And it was just a different look, and they could get going the other way.
90 seconds left in the half. It's South Australia by 2.
And just in that, for coaches, it's they've got a lot going through their minds. Their players have been been through a lot during the week. They're trying to get their head around playing a game and their own particular roles. So you've got to really be acutely aware of what players are feeling and being able to make those tough decisions on subs and in and out, as well as trying to change the flow of the game. And that's the importance of the depth of staff. And you talk about Shane McDonald there, an assistant coach to Chris Anstey. He was a hell of a point guard in the Seabull. He probably could have had a much longer NBL career. He's just an outstanding player. So the depth of these programs, not just with the players but the coaches, is pretty exciting.
Offensive rebound to South Australia. Harris. 3 on the shot clock. Pulls up a 3. The first one rattled in and out. This one goes right down the center.
That is a big bucket. They're looking like they've got a bit of a swagger right now. They're not, overextending themselves, chest pumping or anything like that. But, he looked confident when he pulled up into that jump shot. He didn't have much going. He created something from nothing.
Lepepe looking to drive. Kicks to Robertson. Barry, he just hit his last 3, and now he hits another.
That's probably an assertive pass to find the open shooter there. Oh, he's a very good shooter, and again, playing the strengths. 8 seconds to go.
One final shot for South Australia. Who's going to take it?
Oh, my.
Nathan up and under and puts it in. Oh, my goodness. Brody Nathan. Have a first half, son.
Nathan Brody has come to play. He's hit big shots. He's got to the rim. He's been industrious on the defensive end. He's been working. That's impressive.
We go to the half. It is South Australia over Victoria by 2. Back in just a moment.
Is this where our dreams start? bounced the ball, the first goal,
the inspiration from an idol, Vicinity Centre's Aussie Hoops is Basketball Australia's official introductory program for kids of all abilities.
Basketball is everyone's game, with programs happening in every community.
This is where dreams start. Become a Vicinity Centre's Aussie Hooper today. Register at aussiehoops.com.au.
Welcome to my house. In here, the game is sacred. It's a game that breaks barriers and crosses cultures. A game that demands respect. A game with a long and proud history. A game where legends are born. It's as poetic as it is ferocious. And when you step on this court, remember, this is my house.
Are you making a cake for Mummy's birthday?
Phoebe is very keen on the idea, yeah. Okay, yeah, I better go. I gotta get to the bar.
Love you.
Bye.
Miss you.
Street and a silent
Mummy's birthday.
in the night.
Oh, let's have a look.
If you knew how
What's
much
happened?
this
What is it?
We're coming to see
means
you.
to me, and how long I've waited for your touch. It feels like home to me. It feels like home to me. Feels like I'm all the way back where I belong.
We invited you along today because we wanted to celebrate that outstanding achievement. But it's my great pleasure to hand over to Carlos.
And I have a question for you guys. Do you have any plans for August this year? No plans? Well, if you promise that you're going to do in school and you are working on
We have been going strong since 8 o'clock this morning. We've played 3 grand finals and 1 more still to come. And if you are from the state of Victoria, well, it's been a pretty good Sunday. Hello, everybody. Chris Garagiola. I'm joined by former under-20 New South Wales coach Tim Hudson. And Tim, so far, Victoria, they have had it their way so far in the grand finals, but with 1 more great game in front of us here, South Australia just trying to break the streak. This should be a really entertaining under-20 championship.
Yeah, I think it'll be fantastic. There's an exciting crop of players. You talk about Victoria, they carry the mystique about them. They expect to win. They just have this way that they carry themselves, and it's shone through in this tournament. You know, it could be a clean sweep, but not if SA has anything to do with it. You know, they had a huge win last year. I was on the other end of that, which was tough to take, but they're sort of building their own reputation, and yeah, we'll see how that plays out today.
A convincing win for South Australia in their semi-final against WA. On the other side, it was Victoria just kind of edging by Queensland in a really entertaining game. But those mean nothing now. It just, who can put together the best 4 quarters here will decide ultimately who walks away with a gold medal. Head coach for Victoria is Christopher Anstey. Paul Rigoni coaches the South Australian side, and while we have a moment here, we'll take a look at the starting lineup. First for South Australia, it's Nick Marshall, Lachlan Hobb, Owen Holland, Ben Carter, but the attention has to be on Alex Madronia. He drops 27 points and 10 rebounds in the opening loss to West Australia, and he had a chip on his shoulder. He has been leading the tournament in scoring here. He's got to be the X factor, you'd think, for this South Australia side.
Oh, he's absolutely outstanding. He dropped a cool 40 on New South Wales too, and in a crucial crossover match. And yeah, he's really stood up, and you can see the team feeding off him. He knows how to get in the gaps and really change the game. He can shoot it. He's got a lot to his game.
And then on the other side for Victoria, the starters, Sean McDonald, Tyler Robertson, Josh Kuhn, Kelly LePepe, and Matty Johns, the captain. Many will look to him for his leadership. It's the 5th time he's representing Victoria in a championship-level-like atmosphere. And with one more opportunity to bring home a gold medal, you know he doesn't want to let this one slip through his fingers.
Oh, no doubt. It's almost like he's cruised through the tournament in some ways.
Just a couple minutes before we get out of halftime here in our men's under-20 grand final. You look at some of those first half stats and a pretty even game. South Australia shooting 45% from the field, while Victoria shooting about 39%. Victoria 6-17 from 3, while South Australia 7-16 from behind the arc. You look at the turnovers, it's actually South Australia with 7 and Vic only 2, and they're pretty close here in the rebounding category as well. So, Tim, I ask you, as you look at both of these teams, what has stood out to you, well, team-wise and maybe even player-wise?
Well, when you talk from a stats perspective, I mean, 2 turnovers for a half, and to be down, you have to question why, I think they've done a great job of taking care of the ball, looking after it. But I think SA is the more aggressive team right now. They're changing up their defense. They're keeping heat in the open floor. They'll get rebounds, 2 bounces out, they're pushing. When they're coming off on walls, they're really attacking aggressively, and they're putting Victoria in rotations, and that's flowing onto the rebound count. I mean, the rebound count, SA is winning the rebound count, so I think that's the difference probably in both teams.
Brody Nathan finished with 12 points in that first half, 4 of 6 shooting. He was 3 of 4 from behind the arc, and, well, talk about a guy who off the bench Seems like he hasn't had a lot of opportunities in an SA uniform, making the most of it this year.
And he's been big 2 games in a row. His semi-final, he had 21 points, and he had 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals, and 0 turnovers in a clutch game. But most importantly, I have a look at his plus and minus. He was 29 in the plus and minus. So look at that. What impact does this player have on the floor to his team from a points perspective while he's checked into the game? In today's game, he's leading it again with 11.
Well, nearly deja vu to start the second half, similar to the start of the first quarter. It's LaPepe on the layup for the score.
You know, and you talk about aggressiveness. You know, Victoria came out aggressive. That was an aggressive move, and it was made by their aggressor. Now, LaPepe has that kind of frame. He has that ability to put his brute force on the game, you would say.
A lot of contact on the other end of the floor. No call here for Madronia, so it's a turnover.
And a costly one at that. They've got to be careful of of how they look after the ball. It's one thing to be aggressive, but they just look.
Quick start here for Victoria. Down by 2 at the half. They're now up by 3.
You know, it's not bad, Chris. You go into a half-time and you sit there and you go, how am I going to approach this game? And you've got the likes of Chris Anstey talking to you. You go, you know what? He's probably got some good advice to give me.
Where spent 4 years in the NBA with the Mavericks and the Bulls, came back and played domestically, won the NBL MVP in 2006 and 2008 as LaPepe fires in a shot, and first 3 trips down the floor here for Victoria result in points.
I got a feeling he's gone into halftime and he's taken it personal. The way he's come out that second half, he's turned Victoria into the aggressors.
A strong drive. What a finish there. That time from Madronia, and Anstey fuming, wondering where the help side was on that drive.
Oh, I mean, it's all about building pressure. You can completely understand how Anstey's feeling right now just with that play. They've come out of the half. They've been the aggressors on the offensive end. They've been real solid. They've forced a turnover. And then when you open up a drive like that to a basket and give a team life, you know, you really take the pressure out of the game for the opposition. You know, I like it to, I talk to our boys about keeping it in the pressure cooker. As you build that up, just those costly, blow-bys. You know, you fall asleep for a second. If you foul, you turn the ball over. Those things just take the pressure of the game out. And so I can understand how he feels. And I think it's really important to lay that early in the, coming into that half, because he wants to put his stamp and get them on the front foot.
Got to think as well, every single drive that Madronia able to convert, it's just going to add to his confidence. It was a bit of a slow start in the first half. Credit that a little bit to the game plan that Victoria established on defense. He only had 7 points on 3 of 8 shooting, did Alex Madronia, but you know what? It's a new half and a new opportunity for him to put his fingerprints on this championship.
Yeah, no doubt. And he seems like a very even-keel player. I think just looking back on the first half, he really took his time into the game. He wasn't rushed. He wasn't stressed. And that permeates upon your teammates. Have a look at Brody here. He's sitting in McDonald's pocket. He's talking.
Oh, there's a drive and a two-handed finish by Johns.
That's just a smart play out of the timeout from Anstey and the Victorian team.
Hoff. Madronia defended by LaPepe. Bit of a mismatch here. And Madronia slips it down to Carter. And I believe we have a foul that's going to go against Victoria.
Yeah, that's a nice pass. You really want to be mindful about how often you get caught in that kind of situation where you take 3 bounces back, crossover before you make a play. Defense gets set. It's a tough way to play. But he's got the skills to do it. You just want to try and get as many mismatches, and you want to, exploit those off the on balls.
Look at the drive here. Carter on the rebound, puts it in.
There he goes again. That's a very aggressive move and calculated. He missed the shot, but it made the rebound easier. And I think that's a tale to tell for the first half as far as the rebounds go. When you put pressure on defense like that and make them rotate.
Corner three from Johns. They were dropping early. That one doesn't go. SA right back here. Early in the third, it's Owen Hullen for three. Carter tips it right to Johns. So far, a quiet game for Owen Hullen, just 2 points. Now Johns.
Yeah, Owen, he's a big body, and he really needs to put his imprint in the game. He had a -4 plus and minus. You know, he's got a big frame. How he communicates in the back of the D, that was a great defensive rebound. He wants to really bring that presence.
Madronia driving off the window.
That's a nice drive, and that's a classic example of having an isolation. It's one quick crossover and a quick attack to the basket where people can't help.
Johns now drives, kicks to Robertson. Here's McDonald. He'll try a three of his own, and that one is good. 4-point lead for Victoria.
Yeah, he definitely looks cool, calm, and collected. McDonald, he's really taken this game in his stride. He looks very assertive.
Now Harris, nice feed into Carter. And just keeping it alive with the long arms of Hullen. 7 on the clock. Look at the drive. It's off the glass. Count it, and the foul.
Nathan Brody again. I mean, what can we say? His impact has been felt. You know, I'd love to see him be able to carry this through right through to the end of this game. I think, you know, Chris would be a little bit disappointed. Nancy would be a little bit disappointed right there with 2 defensive plays with complete blow-bys. You've got to be able to build pressure. You can't allow, you know, the SA guards to build a lot of swagger. 2 of their guards came out with sensational games in the semi-finals. You really got to nullify that fact. Here come SA again with their press, mixing things up, trying to put Victoria in 2 mind. You know, really good half-court execution team. That's smart play from Coach Ugani.
Johns driving, gives off to Kunin. He tries to slash to the hoop. Now Johns, a wide open look from deep. Off the back iron, rebounded by Madronia. It comes number 6, a little sidestep shuffle. Can't put it down, and now Victoria pushing the tempo here. It's Duke, rejected by Harris. And then standing out of bounds, I think, was Hullen when he made contact with the ball.
Both aggressive plays at the rim. I think both teams have really got to assess how they slow the ball down in the open court and in the half court. There's a lot of blow-bys right now. There's a lot of, you know, pushing fast breaks with dribbles that aren't getting pulled up. You know, they've got to pick up that ball and try and slow it down a little bit.
Potch. Duke. Johns looking. Goes down low. Been shooting a lot of threes at Victoria. They'll try one more here. Again, wide of the mark, and Kunin comes up with it. 12 back on the shot clock here. 5:15 to go in the third. It's Kunin. Johns, another three-pointer. They are living and dying by the three. They can't put him in. It's LePepe on the rebound, and that one will fall.
That's what he's got to do. He's got to facilitate that role. They need to put pressure on the SA defense. 2 big offensive rebounds. That's going to help them a lot.
That's a tough pass from Harris to try and slide it through a couple of defenders. Turnover.
This is where the point guards come in, you know, vital. Is how they make the most of this scrappy play. It's got to be scrappy both ends of the floor. Looks like Brody's doing that. He's taking control of the play. He's set up a new set. He's been impressive.
Harris goes down to Hullen. Long pass over to Nathan. Madronia has to fire a three. That one off the mark.
That's not a bad set. You know, they got a little off put and got a bit ratty there. They got the ball through hands. Point guard took control of the game. They can be content with that.
Duke driving, stops, spins. Now kicks it back out. 8 on the shot clock. Johns wants to go ISO. Slips it into Kunin. 3 seconds left. 2, and Hullen just steals it. It's Harris the other way. And too strong off the glass. Victoria come away with it here. Look out, they have numbers. It's LaPepe with the two-handed jam. In transition, LaPepe, he's not going to miss from there. And it's a timeout called by South Australia. The lead is 7.
That was definitely something that was missing in the first quarter. The Victorian team is coming out in the open floor now. They're really making South Australia pay for every missed shot, for every turnover. They're looking to really hit the ground running and get out in the open floor. It's going to help them a lot. I mean, the momentum swings in games like this prove a vital difference.
Seems like South Australia, whenever they need a big shot, they can count on number 6 in Madrania. Have to find a way, you'd think, to get him the ball, if not to shoot, at least go back to creating for his teammates.
Well, I think it goes back to the defensive end. I think he's doing okay. I think he's attacking the gaps when he needs to. I don't think there's a whole lot wrong on that end of the floor, and shots will sometimes drop, sometimes they won't. But what'll hurt you, if you don't get that rebound or the turnover happens and you don't pick up assertively in the transition, you're going to be in trouble. And that's what, clearly Victoria's come out at halftime and they've said we're going to be aggressive. LaPepe's making, in the words of Homicide Williams, grown man moves. He's really putting, he's putting heat on the rim. He's getting on offensive boards, and I think the defensive end will change things. That's the ticket for SA. If they can, slow down their transition, put a little heat back on them, and flip the game the other way.
Still in the third quarter here, 3 minutes and 30 seconds left to go. 7-point advantage.
That's a very aggressive show, Chris. Again, they're being proactive.
Well, they leave Nathan open for 3. Can't convert that time, and a lucky bounce gives it back to South Australia.
Big hard show like that, it puts a team off when you can come out aggressive like that. It turns the opposition to being completely reactive. I think that's the telltale sign of this third quarter. They're not playing the same D. They've just pulled out that aggressive show. It'll be interesting to see how they continue to mix it up, the Vics.
And we saw when South Australia was surging, they went into that half-court trap. Now it's Victoria sort of dictating the pace here, and they're being more aggressive on defense.
No doubt about it. Just the hands. There's not a lot of hands. You can tell a lot by body language. You talk about unbelievable Australian players. Matthew Dellavedova. There's a guy who will sit, on the weak side, and his hands are always up. It's those little things. They talk about these players. They get to come out here, and you've got, Adam Capon, who's, puts a tremendous effort into really, paying attention to the ins and outs of every single player in this tournament. And I caught him, engaging with a team who got a very hard-fought win at the end of the tournament. Tasmania won 1 game. So they're really paying attention, and that's really a part of the Australian way, really understanding the finer details.
LaPepe can't convert the and one free throw, but he'll take the 2. And the Victorian side continuing now to grow their lead here in the third.
Just an earlier pickup out of the gate. The ball was inbound. The guard had a Victorian singlet right in front of him from the get-go.
Look at the strength that time from Madrania. I think LaPepe's got at least a few kilos in terms of size, and yet he just shrugged him right off his hip.
That was a great play, very balanced player. But again, he had to earn it. What kind of toll is this going to take over the course of the game?
Flips it up, does Poch. Can't score, but he'll go to the line for 2.
Poch has been impressive too. He's looking to take his opportunities when the time's right. I thought he was very active in the first half with hands, help defense.
Comes in at 6'8". He's just 17 years old, and a debutante here for Victoria. Had to wait a little while to get that Victorian shirt across the chest here at the under-20s, but a special moment for him nonetheless, as his side is up by 8.
No doubt, he's doing it with pride here today.
Madrania working around the double.
Again.
Had it stripped. Now Pudge, a little too much steam. That just slows it down.
You know, it was good to see him firing out in transition. Again, it's putting pressure on SA. You know, if you can make them feel every turnover, it continues to wear your opposition down.
Long 3-ball. Off the mark, picked up here by Nathan. Brody Nathan dishes to Holland. Quick ball movement. Madrania.
With the way he's played, it would be good to see the ball, you know, you're getting into Brody's hands, giving him a chance to take a little bit of pressure off Madrania, allow him to get in and be a creator, take a little bit of heat.
Off the mark with the 3. Victoria. She's going to slow things down and get set up here in the half court.
I think the SA bigs need to do, you know, a lot more, you know, with the on the defensive end with the shows, you know, make Victoria feel every cut. You know, Lepepe just gets a nice easy cut right on the block, enables him to make an easy decision. They've got to earn it.
Nice up and under that time from Coonan down low.
Victoria's making Madrania earn everything he's getting tonight. You know, and I think the SA bigs need to make sure that the Vic bigs are doing the same thing.
Down low to Holland. 35 seconds left. Wide open look. Artacho
nice pass.
Can't get it to fall. Holland just going to take it himself. And off the mark. Last touch, though, I believe, Victoria. So it'll stay here with SA.
That's all right. It was a good aggressive move. He's just got to keep being strong like that, get really good and widen his base and look to take those opportunities.
Madrania has to make something happen. Runs into 4 people, and they're not going to get the shot off. There's the defense, and head coach Chris Yancey applauding his team's effort there on the defensive end.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's good for Coach Rigoni. Just give him a sub there. Just let him get a break. I mean, really, what he's had to go through in this first 3 quarters is quite challenging. They're really working him down. You know, having time with Brian Gorge and, you know, as a development player back in 02, 03, just to sit and watch, you know, and see, you know, the standards that he would set in the defensive end from free throw to free throw. You know, there's no hidden secrets why he was able to capture 3 championships in a row, you know.
Shot clock, not a factor here. 5 seconds left. It's Duke. It's Duke. And Duke scores.
That's a big play. So going back to that comment you're talking about being able to put pressure on a team, you know, clearly Madrania, he's worn out, but he's a tough competitor. I'm sure he's going to come out in this 4th quarter and he's going to be stable and he'll lift. But it really puts pressure on a team when you can wear people down over the course of 40 minutes. Adrian Hurley would often talk about the same thing. We want to beat him at the 40-minute mark, just wear him down over the course of the game. I think, you know, clearly Victoria is doing that. Just that last play alone, you know, there's a short time on the clock and they allow him to get 2 feet in the paint and get a nice, easy finish. I really believe it's got to be done at the defensive end of the floor.
Take a look now very quickly here at some 3rd quarter stats. Fielding, goodness gracious, words are hard. The field goal percentage here for South Australia just at 40%. They really struggled there in that 3rd quarter. Meanwhile, 44% here from Victoria. And you look at Kelly Lepepe leading the way. He's got 16 points. McDonald with 9. Barry with 8 as well. Addie Johns, the captain, also with 9 points. And on the other end, it's Madrania. Probably the quietest 13 points you've ever seen in a grand final. Nathan with 15 and Harris with 8 off the bench.
Well, what the most impressive thing to me is I look at this stat sheet and I see 3 turnovers at 3-quarter time. But I would say maybe in the first half, maybe they weren't aggressive enough. And in this second half, this 3rd quarter, Victoria's been super aggressive. They've been up and in the entire time on the defensive end, and they're putting serious heat on the rim. So, you know, they're now to be able to play at that kind of level and be that efficient is quite amazing, and particularly in a final. And I think, you know, in fairness, you know, there's a lot put on these 2 guards with South Australia. You know, particularly in Majonia and you know, young Brody too. You know, they're forced to do so much work on the offensive end, and it seems to me that they drop back and pick up at that three-point line. They've got to be able to put that pressure on the Victorian, but it's hard when so many players keep coming in. They've got great depth, and they continue to apply pressure in that third quarter. See what they do in the fourth.
10 minutes away from the clean sweep. Both the Ivor Burge men and women and the under-20 women's side have got the job done from the state of Victoria. And the men's side here hold a 12-point lead as Carter poked away. LePepe dives on the floor. Somehow Holland got it. Nice passing, and Carter just gets gravity to be on his side.
Oh man, they needed that. You know, I thought Victoria did everything right, man. They were diving on the loose ball. They were super active, and he got that little breath of fresh air, and he just scraped it in over the top of the rim. It'll go a long way for them. It's interesting now, Chris. You have a look now. They're up and in. I think South Australia's probably recognised that and said, hey, if we're going to get this done, we need to put pressure on this team.
At least give them a look, as it's once again a 10-point game.
A little concerned that Barry, you know, if they took Duke out of the ball handling, they put it in Barry's hands. Clearly their philosophy is, okay, we're just going to get it out of certain players' hands. We're going to let somebody else start the offense, and you could see they were trying to split the gap and deny the weak side reversal.
There's a picture-perfect box out there from Ben Carter, and he draws the foul. 9:18 left to go in the championship. On the floor here for South Australia, it's Madronia, Holland, Hoff, Carter, and Harris. Long pass kept in nicely by Lachlan Hoff. Now it's Harris, a contested three off the back of the rim, but right into the outstretched arms of Carter.
It's interesting seeing Putch just sit right off Hoff, and he's challenging him to shoot that shot.
That three way off the mark that time from Hoff.
I think they're picking their poison. They can sense who's the real threat, who's not, and they're challenging certain guys to make plays.
Holland somehow keeps it, throws it up, and can't score, and finally Victoria secures it after a helter-skelter, a few seconds.
I'm very impressed with the efficiency defensively with Victoria down on the defensive end.
Potch. Where's he trying to go? Just caught in no man's land and turns it right over. It's hopped the other way, up and almost in. Nice ability to hang in the air and draw the contact.
They need to take as much of that as they can. Get out in those transitions, capitalize on those opportunities, get to the foul line, and be able to put pressure back on the Victorian team.
LePepe and Duke will check at the game. Hayes, Brown, and McDonald back in. So Anstey wants to get a proper ball handler back in. He goes with his starter, Sean McDonald.
Well, just the fact that the depth, there's so much trust here in this team. You can sense it. It's a real team. It's a real team group. They're communicating. You can see the guards clapping, pointing, talking about the next phase of play.
Unable to convert from the line. That's a backbreaker. Right back the other way, though, Victoria. South Australia and a man-to-man. Fans coming alive here at court number 1. McDonald lost it. Victoria keeps it. And Potch, a strong take to the hoop.
They're the sorts of balls you got to come up with. You know, when your defense works to get it, you know, you just happen to get a loose ball flying around, you've got to be assertive. Those little things build on you. That could have been 2 points the other way. It's an 8-point game. Now they're shooting free throws and put that little bit of extra pressure.
Back in the game here, Brody Nathan, number 14 in red.
Mr. Impact. He's definitely had a big impact on this game. Let's see how he finishes this one out.
Quickly becoming Tim Hudson's favorite player, that's for sure. First free throw up and good.
I take my hat off.
second free throw just rolls off, but Victoria just outworks South Australia and gets an offensive rebound. You think about how that free throw even came to be, they just couldn't come up with a loose ball.
Yeah, I think it's got a lot with their body language, you know, how they're not just communicating to their teammates, but just how they're carrying themselves. You drop your head at all, it can permeate, and they just didn't look aggressive even in that box out.
Carter has it. Nice cut there from Harris after he recognized the double, but couldn't convert on the reverse.
That was an aggressive move.
Hotch, he wants to drive. Kicks it out to Barry. Barry for three. No good. Tipped out by Oliver Hayes-Brown. And it will go to South Australia.
So the difference on both ends there is Victoria had a presence on the offensive board. You know, there seems like there's a chemistry right now. There's an energy. You know, they're not putting anything to chance. Down the other end, they make a nice cut, good execution, but there's no follow-through on that shot. And the defensive transition was light on again, not a lot of talk.
Harris driving to the right, a tough shot, and somehow is able to pull two free throws out of the hat.
Yeah, again, that's that pressure cooker situation. You know, you're doing a good job, stay in front, just contest without fouling. If they hit the shot like that, again, you know, your hat goes off to them. But if they have to make shots like that throughout the course of this fourth quarter, it'll be a long night for them.
Well, you've got three-point shooters in Harris, Madronia, and Nathan. But for South Australia, they've missed their last 8 threes.
Wow.
So when the well runs dry, it could be a bit of a problem.
Yeah, they've got to shake themselves up. They've got to, you know, they just got to chip away, do the little things well, you know, from a coaching perspective. Maybe just try and change things a little, just try to offset their mindset. You know, it's amazing how much difference, you know, a kid can be when they have their confidence. They have that little bit of swagger.
McDonald couldn't put it in that time, but Hayes-Browns comes up with a rebound.
Yeah, and right now, just Adelaide just look like they're looking for answers. You know, instead of making the difference, being proactive, doing all those little things well, talking, hands. Again, we've seen another offensive rebound because of the lack of that assertiveness, a lack of communication, a lack of bodies.
Off the glass, Carter finally comes down with it, but valuable time being lost.
That's great defense by Barry. You know, it just seems like they've got a mindset. There might be 4 other guys that might, you know, come up with something, but we're going to do everything possible to keep this kid, Madronia, out of the game.
Oh, nice feed into Carter and a gorgeous finish with the left hand.
Saying that, his teammates have really stepped up there. That was a good play.
Who's got the legs?
It needs to happen on this defensive end.
The South Australia fans coming alive. 7-point game.
That's nice. A little more activity there, you know. It's amazing what a basket will do. It'll give you a little bit of extra bounce, and they capitalized on the defensive end.
Nathan will set up the offense. Holland. Harris. Madronia, the captain, draws the contact, and it's a foul against Robertson. He seemed baffled by the call, but it seemed pretty clear.
Yeah, it seemed pretty clear to me. What impresses me most about Madronia is the fact that, you know, he's been pushed and worked to stay out of this game, and he remains steady. He's looking to poke and prod and still do what he needs to do, you know, as a leader and a productive player. You know, Barry's doing a hell of a job guarding him right now. He's denying him everything. It's almost like he's giving him everything that he's had for lunch, you know, or for breakfast. You know, he can smell everything. He's face to face with him, you know, making his cuts hard. And the challenging part is he makes a sub, the next player comes in. You know, that's where Victoria take full advantage of their depth.
Well, it seems pretty clear that Chris Ansey says if we're going to lose to South Australia, it's not going to be because Alex Madronia decided to take over.
That's right.
Barry's in his back pocket. Strong take there by Johns, way off the mark. I think he was looking for a foul that never came.
I'd really like to see South Australia take advantage of this foul count. You know, Victoria is on 4 fouls. You know, to get a chance for them to get back to the foul line, do what they do well with the press and, you know, stunning and we'll be able to flip the game.
Well, hello. Holland out of nowhere with a baseline flush.
A nice dunk changes a lot of things with these young fellas.
All of a sudden, you can just run a little faster and jump a little higher.
That's right. There is a little bit more beat there.
Robertson.
Defensively, they're a little more active.
Victoria gets it back.
They've just got to
LePepe.
sustain it on the defensive end.
Johns, a long three, and it hits the back iron and just floats out of bounds. So this late in the game, I don't know if Victoria necessarily want to start heaving up some deep threes. You've already got LePepe in down low and Robertson, who can certainly finish in a tight situation.
One of the big challenges for, you know, playing in a final like this is that mentality of I've got to play this through. I'm not going to play to try and protect the lead. You know, Victoria have a 5-point lead. They need to stay aggressive, do what's been working really well for them, and trust the process.
Halfway down for Harris.
That's another tough shot. That's a good closeout, good hand contest. That's what Victoria need to do. They need to be consistent on the defensive end and do what they've continued to do well.
Victoria have been stuck at 59 points for a while. LePepe trying to change that here. Puts up a shot that's just short, and Nathan the rebound. Madrania with some space. Tries to go through a couple guys, and it's a traveling violation. A lot of contact again, no foul coming.
They're making him work for everything. He was met with 3 players. He had the ball defender trying to put pressure on him. He had two help players coming in with hands to try and deflect any pass-out situation. This is where they've got to get Brody into the game and allow him to take a little bit of pressure off.
Johns on the baseline. Just throws it off of Holland to keep the possession alive. 16 on the shot clock here. 3 minutes, 12 seconds left to go in the grand final.
I got a feeling this one could be a nail biter.
Hands on knees for players on both sides. The legs are heavy. Even the gym gets quiet when we have a break. McDonald left alone. He'll try a 3. South Australia okay letting Victoria shoot it from deep. They just have not been able to convert. Still just a 5-point game. Neither team able to score. Holland, he'll try a 3. Off the back of the iron. Rebound though. Oh. Bounces off Madrania's knees right into the hands of Vic.
No, he nearly got it. Yeah, it was good. They were a little more aggressive trying to get that offensive rebound. You miss that one, you pick up the next one. They just got to stay consistent this defensive end.
Barry can't convert on the 3-point shot, and then a near steal that time by Matty Johns.
You know, there's been a lot of 3-point shots now for Victoria. They're really aggressive at getting to the rim and playing within the flow. But again, it's a psychological challenge. I mean, it's a blessing in one sense that you're up, but there's also the weight of expectations. You're trying to, are you going to protect the lead, play right through? And again, all those things are distractions, you know. It was good to see Timmy Mallon, you know, with the New South Wales team. He was very big on mindfulness, you know. It's, you know, for these kids, they've got to try and just stay focused on the game.
Finally, a 3-point shot goes down. It is Robertson with the bow and arrow accuracy. And with 2 minutes and 6 seconds left, it is Victoria 67, South Australia 59.
The interesting, component coming into this timeout is, Victoria have got to play without fouling. They can't allow South Australia to get any pressure breaks. A foul, put them in the foul line, allow them to flip and change the game. It's got to play really steady, make sure their communication's up, help their guards get through on all the screens, and continue to put the pressure on their South Australian guards like they have, but do it without fouling. Any foul will give that player a chance to get a breather. 2 easy, high percentage shots, play the defense the other way. For South Australia, they've got to try and flip the game somehow.
The foul situation being what it is, despite the fact that South Australia like to shoot the threes, and threes would certainly help them out here, if you get down low and you're able to get more inside scoring, you might draw a foul and go to the line, be in the bonus. And I feel like with 2:06, you still have enough time to be patient on offense instead of trying to force the issue.
Yeah, that's right. And the three-point shot can be a little fool's gold in situations like this. Sometimes players, they'll take a little, a bit of a tougher shot, sort of takes the pressure off. I just happened to miss it. No, I mean, you've got to be industrious. You've got to stick to the process, the flow of the game. What's going to help your team get a good shot and be able to get that defense going the other way.
Carter down low. Madronia finally has space, but he can't put it down. Johns. He's in no rush.
No, they're going to take the air out of the clock.
Kunin working on Madronia. Slides past one. Oh, this would be a backbreaker. Could it be? Yes! Another three. Robertson. That might seal the championship.
He's been cool as a cucumber out in that three-point line.
Carter, pulling now for three. That won't go. Rebound, Victoria. Oh, they're starting to feel it here at Scholastic Sports Stadium.
No doubt about it.
11-point lead, 55 seconds to go. Kunin, baseline, just shoves Harris out of the way and draws the foul.
Under a minute to go, they're down 11. They've only got one foul on the foul count. It's not like they can just go and foul, and get the next play. I mean, they need to be aware of that. If they foul, they've got to just go quick fouls in succession.
Well, I think the look right now on the South Australia bench tells you all you need to know. Even the brightest and best optimists in red uniforms, they can see into the future. It does not look good. Timeout going to be called here by head coach Paul Rigoni. If anything else, just to advance the ball up and try and draw up something quick. But down 12, you might need two miracles.
Yeah, it's actually down 13, and
13, yeah.
It would take a miracle to come back from here. Short of a spare Reggie Miller sitting on the end of the bench. But no, look, I think what's important from this, at this point of the game, is how you handle yourself character-wise. They've played a big tournament. They've got to the gold medal game. Might be able to reach, but they just want to do everything they can to play out this game as best they possibly can. If they can get it, closer and put in a good finish, then that's great. That's all you can do is control what's in front of you.
Listen, nothing to hang their head about if you're South Australia. I don't think right now, if the game finishes with a 13-point deficit, or if it even gets to be higher than that, that is not indicative of the performance that South Australia put in this game, and it is not a fair reflection of their effort here in this championship.
Yeah, and full credit goes to Victoria. They've had an outstanding scout. I think they've done a great job of nullifying their strengths and really wearing the opposition team down over the course of the game.
So let's see what they draw up here. Madronia steps out of bounds. Ooh. And then is hit hard. And Lepepe quick to help him up. Hard contact after the fact.
It was definitely a hard hit. It was impressive that he's got up so quick, but it didn't look like Lepepe had gone out of his way to really smash him. He put his body there quick, and he's just not the type of body you bounce well off.
Victoria, yeah. Brutus laying the lumber. .40 seconds and counting. Whistle and a foul. That goes against Nathan. Like you mentioned before, because of the foul situation, we're going to have to do this a couple times now.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of Lepepe, I thought, you know, he really came out and set the tone in the start of the second half, and it's such a key moment. You know, when you go into that halftime and there's a lot of pressure, you're thinking about the national championships, there's so much going through their mind, and he came out and was just super aggressive. I've heard a few people, you know, talk, he's a bit Bacona-like, you know, that you know, he'll do the work, he's very strong, he'll be the aggressor, and you know, that's a pretty big or even mentioning of a comparison, but he's certainly been impressive in the second half.
South Australia willing to concede here. Only 20 seconds left to go. Shot clock here at 6. They'll just have to put one up. Stolen away. And South Australia, a frustrating second half. Fantastic tournament, but a golden performance by Victoria.
It has been a great tournament, and you know, put aside the fact that, you know, it wasn't that thrilling finish, you know, point by point into the final, but you know, the staff of the stadium here, you know, Turtle have done a great job of, you know, putting together, you know, a great tournament. BA's done a fantastic job of just the little things. It's one thing to run a tournament to make sure everything flows, but to go to that extra level, you know, to make sure to see how this flows on to World Championships. You know, there's a much bigger picture to everything. So full credit to everybody involved in putting on a great tournament. You know, there was no easy predictions. You know, everybody thought Queensland was going to win it. You know, WA came out of the blocks and really, you know, set the tone early in the tournament. But it's not how you start the tournament; it's how you finish. And Victoria, they came off, you know, a scrappy victory over, you know, the NBA Global Academy, and there was probably a few questions as to how good they would go, particularly after the loss to, you know, WA. And I think they found themselves over the course of the tournament.
Well, if there's one thing we learned this week is that Victoria is filled with champions. It is a clean sweep. Ivor Burge, men and women. The under 20, men and women. They all get the job done here, and they all walk away with gold medals. We're going to head down to the floor and see if we can grab head coach Chris Ansey for an interview. But Tim, I appreciate you joining us here for this championship showdown. It was a good game. Hope to see you in the future sometime soon.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Chris. I've been humbled by the opportunity to call the game. And, yeah, it's been a real pleasure.
We'll be back soon.
Congratulations once again, Victoria. They were lining up some names. All our teams to come out shortly and line up behind your state's side. And we'll do our presentations to all our wonderful teams and officials.
Can I grab your headset and earphones real quick? Can I grab that real quick? I don't have thumbs.
If Julia wants to pick me up another day, but she's busy. Oh, absolutely, she's busy. So I'll come. Yeah, I'll let her know. It's fine. Totally fine.
I'll let you know when again.
Yeah, just right over here. You ready? Cool, cool.
What's the view like up there?
Good.
Golden. I can imagine. Victoria, golden state of mind. Back here with the winning coach here and the under-20 men's side, Chris Sansi. Coach, it seemed like a one-point game. You guys had to make some adjustments. How did you turn it around in the second half?
A little bit more pressure on Madronya. Got into the lane too easily in that first half, which worked for us the first time we played them in the tournament, but they shot the ball very well in that first half. On the flip side of that, we thought we were settling for too many perimeter shots in that second quarter, so big focus on getting on the rim, dribble penetration, post feeds, and playmaking from the post.
Kelly LePepe, he seems to just do it all for your team. He got the game started early with his aggression. He carried it through the second half. Describe his performance in this game and what his personality brings to this team.
He's a workhorse, and he's got a lot of stuff going on off the basketball court, so to put that behind him, yeah, he was the first guy picked in this team because of what he does. He doesn't have off nights. He doesn't stop working. We know exactly what we're going to get from him every single game. Make shots, miss shots, he's going to contribute.
How do you describe the resiliency of this entire team performance? It wasn't smooth sailing in the beginning of the championship, but you guys just continue to find a way to get it done, and now you ended here with a gold medal around your neck.
We kept getting better. We kept sticking to the process. It's a cliche, but we never looked at results. We wanted to be a possession-by-possession basketball team, and I thought we got closer to 40-minute games the longer the tournament went on, and our last two games were outstanding.
In your own words, what's Victorian basketball all about?
It's about this. It's about providing pathways for young players to go on and do what they want with the sport. It's providing a platform for them to have successful moments, and this tournament looks just golden.
Coach, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations. I'll let you celebrate with your boys.
Thank you.
That's going to wrap it up here from the under-20 side of the play. We've got some medals to give out when we come back. We'll take you through the medal ceremony. It's the Victorian state of mind as all four teams will walk away with gold here on Bar TV Sports. Back here at Scholastic Sports Stadium as we wrap up the 2018 Under-20 Iverberg Championships. The men, the women, on both sides of the draw, it was all Victoria all week long as all four walk away with gold medals. And now that our tournament is over, I just want to give out a few thank yous. First, Basketball Australia wants to thank its valued partners, the AIS, Vicinity Centers, Peak Sport, Fox Sports, Sports TG, iAthletic, and Victor Sports for their continued support here of Australian basketball, not only through this championship, but for many championships to come. We also want to take an opportunity to thank Gosford Basketball and all of their volunteers, our wonderful score and bench stats and crew, Paul, Liam, Andrew, Leon, and the entire crew over at Bar Sports TV, our officials who have worked hard all week and have done an outstanding job. And last but not least, those from the basketball community who help make these Australian Championships such a prestigious event. That is going to wrap up our coverage here of the 2018 Under-20 Iverberg Championships. Still left to come, it's the medal ceremony, and we're going to see each Victorian side get their golds, and we will salute all of the teams that participated in such a wonderfully run, beautifully played tournament all week long. This is Chris Garagiola. I have been so honored to cover these championships here in Australia. Thanks for having me. And if you tuned in, we appreciate your continued support here of basketball in Australia. If you choose not to stick around for the medal ceremony, shame on you. No, I'm just kidding. Hope you guys have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next year. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.